And next we'll get the call going. We'll start things off with Alabama A&M head football coach James Spady. His team fell to Grambling this past weekend, and on Saturday they will play host to Southern University for a 1 p.m. kickoff. Good morning, Coach Spady. Are you with us?
I am, yes. Good morning.
Good morning, Coach. If you could start things off, opening comments with your game this past weekend and talk about playing Southern University.
It was a tough loss. We're playing at home for the first time, and our kids were fired up and ready to play, but we weren't able to make enough plays to win the game. We played a really good Grambling football team. I got to tell you, they are on a roll, and what a class bunch of guys. I mean, everybody on their staff is class, and then all their football players were class. It's almost a shame that you got to play a group like that because you're trying to beat them, but what a class bunch, and I commend them for a job well done. We got Southern University this week, and it doesn't ever get any easier. You just line up and play the next team. Got so much good football being played in this conference right now. It's really tough to pick out one that's going to stand out as a potential win. But we got our hands full with Southern. We're going to have to play very well to beat them.
All right, questions now for Alabama A&M head coach James Spady.
Coach Spady, kind of talk about the fast-paced offense you ran against Grambling State. I noticed that you all went in a no-huddle offense. Are you going to try to do with that with Southern?
It's our normal tempo to run no-huddle. I wouldn't say that we were any faster than just the normal tempo this weekend, and strategically we are going to really kind of do what the other team allows us to do. We're going to take what they give us, in other words. So there's no plan to be fast-paced. There's no plan to not be fast-paced. It's going to be based on what they give us.
Still taking questions for James Spady, head coach at Alabama A&M.
Coach, what are you looking for this week as opposed to last week? Grambling, their offense was also a no-huddle offense. Have you got a chance to check out Southern?
We've looked at Southern, and today is going to be a huge day in terms of game planning. Make sure you get them broken down. Make sure you get, an understanding of the way they're going to attack you, both offense, defense, and kicking game. I said both, but in all three phases. So, to be honest with you, our game plan is fluid right now. I wouldn't know what we're going to do at this point in terms of attacking them strategically, and probably wouldn't tell it on the teleconference anyway. But the big thing is, we do know that they present you some problems in their defensive structure. They present you some problems in their offensive structure because of the fact that they like to spread their formations so that you have to cover the entire field. They do some deceptive things, in their backfield. They're very similar to us in that they'll play a little bit of a pistol format, and that may bode well for us because we are familiar with that style. It's just a matter of having guys, lined up properly and playing responsibility football.
Coach, talk about your play of Montravius Smith, 7 catches, 131 yards, actually got in the end zone once as well.
Montravius is a go-to guy for us. He's one of our seniors. He's one of our captains. He's a production player for us. We've got to find ways to get him the football. But I tell you something that concerns me is that he had more touches, considerably more touches than anyone else in the offense this week. and that's not necessarily a good thing. We want to spread the ball around. When one guy's getting more touches than everybody else, and it's a huge difference between 1 and 2. When one guy's getting most of the touches, then the defense just really has to concentrate on stopping him, and that's not what we want. We want to spread the ball around and make them cover the entire field, cover the entire formation, and so we're going to have to fix that this week so that we're a little bit more formidable than that.
So just the expectation to prepare for 2 quarterbacks this week, DJ and Jonathan Williams for Grambling?
Well, you go into the game and you're thinking about, well, there's a potential that you got 2 totally different styles of offense that you have to deal with, and that was one of the things that we did prepare for us, one of the things that we thought about. I'm pretty sure we got the other kid for the majority of the game, not DJ, the other Williams. Excuse me. We shot him most of the game, and so you were able to kind of figure out what direction they would go. But I'll be honest with you, they have such a formidable offensive attack. Wouldn't have mattered who the quarterback was. You got to stop all that they do.
And we still have about 3 minutes left in the segment with Alabama A&M head football coach James Spady.
Hey, Coach, this is Jen. Just real quick, how good did it feel to finally just be at home after being on the road for so long?
Oh, God, I can't even tell you. That it did feel really good to play a home game, a game in front of, a not-so-hostile crowd. We hadn't felt that all season, and our kids were fired up about it. Didn't translate to winning the football game for us, but it was definitely a plus to be able to sleep in your own bed, to be able to be in familiar surroundings and play in front of your folks. That was really nice, and we get to do that again this week.
Coach, oftentimes we talk about getting off to a really quick start, and it looks like Grambling finally caught their stride in the second quarter with 17 points you guys gave up in that quarter. How big was that quarter out of all 4 of them?
Yeah, it was huge. We spent the entire game trying to keep up. They'd score and we'd have to answer, and then they'd score again and we'd have to answer, and that's physically and emotionally taxing. And so, you'd like to get off to a better start. They got the ball first and they scored first, and then the rest of the game was just a matter of us trying to keep pace. We missed an extra point, so that was a stressor because now you're trying to consider whether or not to go for 2. Then we had an injury to our deep snapper, and so you can't kick a field goal. I mean, there were some things there that we had to deal with, and not making any excuses because Grambling played a great football game. Their coaches coached a great football game, and it wouldn't have mattered, whether we had an injury or no injury or whatever. They really outplayed us, and they deserved to win the game.
Do you have any more questions for Alabama A&M head coach James Spady? Coach, thank you very, very much for your time. We look forward to talking with you next week.
You're welcome. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot. That's Alabama A&M head football coach James Spady. His team fell to Grambling this past week, and they will host Southern University at 1 p.m. There was an error in announcing the players of the week, so I will revisit the newcomer and the specialist of the week before we get to Reggie Barlow. The newcomer of the week was Southern University, Danny Johnson, defensive back. Johnson posted Southern's second 98-yard kickoff return for a touchdown Saturday. He also had a 60-yard interception as well, returned for a total of 158 all-purpose yards. He was the newcomer of the week. And the specialist of the week, we had co-specialist of the week. It was running back Darian Ragsdale, Alcorn State, and Southern's wide receiver Reggie Travis.
That's not right.
Travis should be newcomer, and Johnson should be special teams.
So the specialist is Danny Johnson for Southern, and the newcomer is Reggie Travis and Darian Ragsdale. Excuse me. Thank you very much. Next up on the call, we will go to Reggie Barlow. His team fell to Alcorn State this past weekend on Thursday, and they will head to Prairie View A&M for a 2 p.m. kickoff. Coach Barlow, are you with us?
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Coach. If you could revisit Thursday night's game and preview Prairie View A&M.
Yeah, we went down to Alcorn on Thursday, knew that it would be a challenging game on the road. They playing with a lot of confidence, well-coached team, and, really it was just a good old-fashioned butt-whooping they put on us, and we didn't do anything right, offensively, defensively. We just didn't have it. They dominated us in the trenches. I had a great scheme, and of course, we just came up short. We have Prairie View this week. You know, another challenge is you tell your team every week it's a big game, it's a big challenge because of the parity in our league, and it's no different this week. Going to Prairie View, I think it's their homecoming. There'll be a lot of festivities going on, a lot of excitement there for their program. They just had a big win against Jackson State. So, it's another game that we got to get up for, and it's on the road, hostile environment, and we just got to get our guys ready to go and see can we get back on track.
Our questions now for Alabama State head football coach Reggie Barlow.
This is HBCU game day. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. You talk about the past week you guys were on a roll and you come in and you get a tough loss. How do you is it easier to motivate those guys after a loss like this, or is it you have to pick their spirits up?
Well, I really like our team. It's unfortunate that we just didn't play well. Our guys didn't play with much energy, and just picked the wrong time to have our worst game. But I still love our team, and it's just we talk to them about it. We're going to be motivated. We're going to be angry. We're going to go and compete with hungry hearts. And of course, you have to attack the problem and let them know the disappointment and what we didn't get out of that game. But you still love them up and let them know that it ain't the end of the world. And we just got to find a way to get back on track, and I believe we will.
Coach Barlow, how you doing? This is Mike Prince with the Open Mic Broadcast Network.
Howdy.
All right. I hear you make mention that this was the worst time for your team to have probably the worst performance of this season. How much would you attribute that to the play against Alcorn, or do you just think it was guys being a little bit over anxious for playing on the Thursday night attraction, ESPN, or do both of them play a factor?
Yeah, obviously Alcorn had a bunch to do with it. It's just that their team and Coach Jay, he's done a great job, and I love seeing programs where you can see the complete buy-in. You could tell that he's turned that program around, and there's complete buy-in by everybody, and those guys played really hard and played with a lot of energy and enthusiasm, and that's what this game is. You got to have energy, you got to have enthusiasm and passion, and they played with it. So, they had 90% of it was them. They dominated us and forced their will on us, and didn't allow us to have the success that we had in the other games. So, yes, they had a lot to do with that. But our guys just we lacked the energy. You know, we played 4 games in 20 days. You know, we'd had 2 Thursday night games, and then of course our normal Saturday game. So we knew that stretch of these last 4 games or so was going to be an uphill, challenging battle for us. But you know, again, we ran up against a team that was really good, well coached. Man, they got great scheme on offense and defense, and those guys just play really hard, and they forced their will on us. So we just got to go back to the drawing board and correct some things and simplify some things, and just give our guys an opportunity to just go out and play without thinking, and I believe we'll get that done.
With that being said, Coach, you're playing now against a team in the likes of Prairie View who just got a big road win, and now they're coming home for their home this week. How do you prepare your guys mentally for the potential, you know, as you stated earlier, as a hostile environment, and what are they going to have to do to pull out the victory on the road?
Well, I mean, you know, like you mentioned, Prairie View is a really good team. They have great schemes as well. I mean, these offensive coordinators that we have in this conference is, second to none. And these guys are doing a great job. So they're scoring a lot of points, and they scored a lot on us last year. So we have to be, we got to be sound in what we do. We got to tackle well, and coverage. We got to make sure that we're doing things that's going to allow our guys to be comfortable and play. But it's a process. You know, we talk about it all the time. Just we'll keep playing grass. Don't pull weeds. That's just the mindset, and just overcome whatever adversity we're faced with. Try to stay positive with these guys, and just do what we do, and go out and give it our best shot. And at the end of the day, if we go and do that, don't look at the scoreboard, I think it'll take care of itself.
Still taking questions for Alabama State head football coach Reggie Barlow. Coach Barlow, we have got a pretty fair amount of good quarterbacks in this league. Talk about the one you'll be seeing this weekend.
Well, it's actually 2. They play. It seems like they're playing 2 guys there, but big, strong kid, and last year we played him. There were times where we had 2 or 3 guys on him, and he would find a way to still make the throw. There were times where we had a guy, wrapped around his legs. He'd find a way to escape and pick up the first down. So just a huge challenge. We just played a really good quarterback at Alcorn, and big guy that's long. But this week here is much of the same. Big, strong, can run, can hurt you with his arm, can make all the throws, and the offensive scheme that they're running there is really good, and so it's going to be another big challenge.
Still got about 2 minutes to take questions for Reggie Barlow.
Coach, we are at the midpoint of the season here. How's your team looking injury-wise? About this time, players start getting banged up. You feel like you guys are still healthy at this point, or how's that going?
Well, at this point, most of these guys gonna have some type of nicks and bruises. But as far as guys being out, we are okay. Damian Love, our guard, who is suffering from a little ankle injury, but he did play against Alcorn, and by us playing on Thursday, we'll get these extra days to kind of get him back. So hopefully he'll be ready to rock and roll on this Saturday. But you have a couple of guys that have some nicks and bruises, but for the most part, everybody's okay.
Coach Barlow, we appreciate your time this week. We look forward to talking with you next Monday. That's Alabama State head football coach Reggie Barlow. Again, his team will travel to Prairie View A&M, and the kickoff is set for 2 p.m. Next up on the call, we go to Jackson, Mississippi, and head coach Harold Jackson. His team fell to Prairie View A&M, and they will host Mississippi Valley State at 2 p.m. this Saturday. Good morning, Coach Jackson. Are you with us?
I'm with you. Good morning.
Thanks for joining us, Coach. If you could talk about the loss there to Prairie View and give us a preview of what to expect from Mississippi Valley State.
Well, I'll tell you, Prairie View came in here at 0-4, and like I talked to my guys all last week and tell them that Prairie View is a team that coming in here played some pretty good opponents before they got here. I said, they're not an 0-4 football team. We got to go out and play our ball game. And before we went out in the game, I told them we got to go out here and, we got to play our game. I said, as long as we let Prairie View hang in the ball game, they're going to feel like they can win this ball game, and that's what happened. We let them hang around there long enough to take control of that ball game, and they took advantage of it. We ran the ball. The thing that we wanted to do, we wanted to run the ball, get our running game going, and we ran the ball about 43 times, about 260 yards or so. The quarterback, he wasn't as sharp and keen on his throwing. He was like 15 or 29 and had one interception. And we had one running back, Jerix Moore. He touched the ball probably about 16 times for about 48 yards and a touchdown. And our field goal kicker did a pretty good job for us. He had 3 field goals. He had one for 50 and one for 47 and then one for 25-yard field goal, and we, in the first half, if the ball game was over in the first half, we'll win it, because we go in the ball halftime at 27-17. I think we had the ball for about 11 minutes in the first quarter and about 10 minutes in the second quarter, but when we came out in the third and the fourth, we didn't have the ball 5 or 4 minutes in those 2 quarters, so that caught up with us, and our defense, for some reason, they didn't play as well as I thought they should have, they would have. I think on the defense side of the ball, we're probably what's happening. I think we're thinking too much, Sometimes coaches make things a little bit difficult for you. And had a coach, Coach Hill told us a long time ago, keep it simple, stupid. And so sometime that you need to take some of the stuff that you have in your game plan, take it out. Like I said, we got Mississippi Valley State coming up this week, and Mississippi Valley State, I think they were 1-5 or something like that, and there's another team coming in, and it's a pretty good football team. We got to be able to play. This is homecoming for us, and like I told the guys the other day, homecoming is a game that you can't afford to lose, because you got everybody coming in here for homecoming, and everybody coming to see exactly what you have. And so what we got to do, we just got to go out and we got to fight. Mississippi Valley State, I think they playing with 2 quarterbacks. I think they got Patrick Ivory. Matter of fact, the brother of our quarterback here. And Patrick Ivory, he's like 6'4", about 206, 15 pounds, and he's a senior. Then they have Peterson, which is another young man he's sharing time with, is about 6'1", 205, and he's a junior. And they got a great target they're throwing to is Julius Stanford. He's about 5'10", 180 pounds, and he's a guy you got to keep him in front of you, because if you don't, he'll beat you. And they got a pretty good defensive back, Avid Borkin, which is about 6 feet, 190 pounds senior. So we got our work cut out for us. No matter who we play, they're going to come in here. They want to beat Jackson State, so we got to play our A game.
Thank you very much, Coach. Questions now for Harold Jackson, head football coach at Jackson State. Coach, it looks like you guys went tick for tack there in terms of scoring up until the third quarter, and then you gave up 21 points there in the fourth quarter. Revisit that time frame for us, if you will.
Well, you know what, we go after we got back and looked at the film. We had a lot of guys blew a lot of assignments, and like I was telling the coach, I said maybe we need to. We need to water this thing down a little bit because maybe it's too much on their plate, and we're putting too many defenses in, and they're trying to run them, and then they forget what they're doing on the field. Like I said, these young kids, they got more than just football. They got school and all that. So we just got to do a better job as far as presenting it to them, and then so they can go out and execute it. Because, like I said, one thing about it, you got to be able to go out there and perform on the field and be able to go out and execute what you're supposed to do. And we just got to cut back on some of the things that we're putting on their plate.
How you doing, Coach Jackson? This is Mike Prince with the Open Mic Broadcast Network.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, sir. Look, I know this is almost like the giant elephant in the room. You got homecoming coming up against Mississippi Valley. You're replacing the coach and the likes of Coach Comegy. Has there been a lot of buzz in the air about this game coming up, and how are you taking it and dealing with it personally?
Well, you know what? It's fortunate. I have not heard a whole lot about it. Like I said, when I first got here, you heard different ones saying, Coach, you got to beat Mississippi Valley, so. But what we do, we take them one at a time, and we go out there and play who's on the schedule, So Mississippi Valley is on the schedule this week, and we just got to prepare. We just got to go out and play our best ball game. And, like I said, nobody wants to lose homecoming, and everybody wants to, play homecoming. And so what we try to do is get the guys prepared and go out and let's execute this ball game and go out here and try to come out with a win because we need it. We at home, and one of the things that you try not to do is you lose home games, and so unfortunate we have lost 2 so far at home, Like I told the coaches this morning, I said we just got to put enough on the kids' plate so they can go out and execute what they have to execute. Don't put too much on, don't overload their minds right now because, like I said, right now they at homecoming, they got school, and so we have to do what we have to do to try to take some of the pressure off of them.
Now, Coach, when you make that mention, are you saying that there are too many plays or just too much different verbiage in understanding the plays? When you talk about
Probably too much verbiage. It's so much adjustments and things that you have to make, and that's one of the things that you got to cut back on. If you player go out and get one coverage and they see something, you got to adjust this, you got to adjust that. So what we need to do, we need to simplify just a little bit more.
Coach Ken Rashad, HBCU Sports. As you evaluate the mid part of the season, being in your first year as head coach, and as you look at your coaches and your team overall, are there any surprises that you have experienced, and what conclusions have you come up with respect to changes maybe going forward mid-season as opposed to things that may or may not have met your expectations from the start of the season?
Well, I'll tell you what, there's a lot of things that have not met my expectation because I expect, different one to take charge. Like I said, I know we have a young quarterback, and we got to bring him along slow, because like I said, the thing that he's reading, the thing that he's seeing, he might not be seeing it the same way we're seeing it. So we just got to really bring him on slow because he's the guy that, like I said, when I first got here, I told we all going to put a big old saddle on him and we're going to ride him. So we got to make sure we got him in charge of what he's doing because, like I told him, this is his offense. This is his football team. He got to be the guy that take control of it. He's not, he really don't have that sense of urgency so I'm just trying to really bring him along slowly, but make sure he is the guy that we're dependent on because, like I say, he's going to be a good quarterback. It's just taking him a little bit more time to get to where we really want him.
And do we have any more questions for Harold Jackson? Coach Jackson, thank you very much for your time. We look forward to talking with you next week.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. That's Harold Jackson, the head coach at Jackson State University. His team will host Mississippi Valley State at 2 p.m. Next up on the call, we go to Arkansas at Pine Bluff, and filling in for head coach Monte Coleman is the assistant head coach and wide receivers coach at Arkansas Pine Bluff. His name is Raye. They were defeated by Southern University this past week. Arkansas Pine Bluff has a bye week here in Week 7. Good morning, Coach Raye. Are you with us?
Good morning. Yes, I am.
Thanks for joining us, Coach. If you could talk about your game last week against Southern University and just give us a heads up of what you guys will be working on over the bye week.
Yes, sir. First, I want to send our apologies from Coach Coleman. He was unable to join us this morning for personal reasons. But the Southern University game, we played very well. We're still a young team in search of our identity. We're playing a lot of young guys and just haven't quite found it and put everything together yet. But we hope to, keep building on it, build the momentum, and move forward. We got a bye week here, and that'll give us an opportunity to adjust and confirm some things and get ready for the Grambling game.
Thank you very much. The floor is now open to take questions. This is assistant head coach and wide receivers coach at Arkansas Pine Bluff, Raye.
Hey, Coach Raye, this is I.C. Morrell at the Pine Bluff Commercial. I was talking with a couple of players after the football game, and they were saying right now, and you guys have played like 5 games now, right now the guys don't seem to be playing as a team, although you guys have been moving the ball better a little bit. Defense is kind of a bit of a struggle still. Do you see a lack of togetherness in the team right now, or is that a factor in some of the struggles that you guys have been having?
Well, I think what's really happening is, like I said, we are a young team, and we're incorporating a lot of different parts, and some of the things are just not fitting right now with the system and stuff. The kids are still learning, so it's a learning curve for them, and it's just going to take a little bit of time for we can put it all together and everybody following the instructions that they have, and everybody's doing their own thing right now. And we just got to understand that we got to play together as a unit and as a team, and that's just going to take a little bit more time.
Gotcha.
Coach, talk about Austin Howard, the freshman quarterback at Southern. He's played pretty well throughout the season and had a pretty decent game against you guys as well. Talk about his play.
Yes, sir. He actually put together a pretty good game. Of course, they got some of their intricate parts back together. I guess they were missing some players in the previous games, and they were able to be full strength against us. But he did play a good game. From what I saw from him, he put together a couple of good drives. We helped them a couple of times. We had one defensive back fall down on what should have been an interception. It turns into a big play. But the young man, he's starting to play well, and that comes with game experience. And when you're 4 or 5 games into the season, you get your confidence up. And it seems right now that that's what they have going for him, and he appears to be on a roll. And he's actually a pretty exciting player.
You had 7 different guys with a reception Saturday, starting with LeGrone and Young. Talk about your receiving corps this past weekend.
Well, actually, from watching the film and grading them out and stuff, they actually they played pretty good, but they didn't play as well as I was hoping. In continued improvement, what we try to do is improve from game to game. And in my opinion, in our grading system, actually they kind of took a step back. But we are starting to play the young guys in there, and a couple of those young freshmen we were able to get into our spread package a little bit more. Willie Young is still probably our big play receiver, and he had a pretty good game, and he's always exciting when he gets the ball. So we started to use Aaron LeGrone a little bit more out of the backfield, and Ben was able to find him on a big play as well. And and then we got Patrick Rowland, a true freshman. This is only his second game, and we had him as an integral part of the offense this week, and he ended up catching a 25-yard touchdown pass from Ben Anderson. So as a unit, didn't play quite as well as we had hoped, but always room for improvement, and that's what we're going to continue to do.
Get a valid conference ID. Please enter your conference code now.
Hey, Coach Raye, this is IC again. Patrick Rowland, it seems like this is the first time I think I've seen him really play extensively, and he's really seemed to step up. What's improved in his game that's allowed him to step up?
Well, the biggest thing was he was one of our key components coming in, and we thought we were going to be able to use him. It was just a little setback at the early part, right at the end of training camp, where we felt like he wasn't quite ready, and we didn't want to just throw him to the wolves, so we kind of brought him along slowly. He's a great young man, got tremendous speed, great hands out of Little Rock, Arkansas, and we'll start to build him more into the offensive game plan. As you can see, we did some things with him, not only throwing the ball to him, but also in the running game, and that's what we're going to try to continue to do with him moving forward.
Right.
All right, you can do it now. Excuse me?
Still got time. We're talking things over with Craig Raye, assistant coach at Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Put me back now. That worked. All right.
Coach, in what ways does a bye week benefit you guys? I think you had one early on already. Is that correct?
Yes, we did. We had a bye week just actually about a couple of weeks ago. I think it's going to benefit us, right? We actually need it right now. We're kind of banged up a little bit along the offensive front. We can certainly use the rest, and then of course our quarterback Ben, he's not 100% right now like we want him to be. So it actually comes at a good time. It'll give us an opportunity to reevaluate. We may take an opportunity to practice the younger guys a little bit more and try to get them accustomed to game-type situations, trying to prepare them for the Grambling game. And there'll be opportunity, like I said, for the guys to heal up a little bit and get ready for that game.
Coach Coleman was saying that Ben I think he had some sort of a leg injury. Maybe he had sustained in the Saturday game. Did he sustain it in the Saturday game, or did he sustain it before?
I'm not really sure what it was. I just being up in the press box, I remember just looking down one time and I saw him limping a little bit. So I don't think it was the game before. I think he may have taken a shot or something during the Southern game, or maybe fell wrong when he slid. But it was nothing that couldn't hold him out. I mean, he's a competitor, and he was able to play through it. And he'll be fine. He'll be ready to go for the Grambling game.
Okay.
Still taking questions for Craig Raye, assistant coach for Arkansas Pine Bluff. Do we have any more questions?
This is SWAC Teleconference. Football Teleconference.
Thank you very much, Coach. We appreciate your time, and hopefully we get a chance to talk things over with Monte Coleman next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
That was Craig Raye, assistant head coach at Arkansas Pine Bluff. Again, Arkansas Pine Bluff was defeated by Southern this past weekend, and they have a bye week here. And next up on the call, we go to Grambling State University, and Broadrick Fobbs, his team defeated Alabama A&M this past Saturday. They will play host to Alcorn State for a kickoff and gets underway at 2 p.m. Good morning, Coach Fobbs. Are you with us?
Good morning. How you doing?
Thanks for joining us, Coach. If you could talk a little bit about your victory over A&M and also preview Alcorn State.
Well, I tell you, I thought we started the game the right way. We talk a lot around here about starting with that juice, and I thought we had the energy we needed, and we started out really, really aggressive. But I thought we kind of fell off and kind of went back to doing some things that's out of character for us. But we got to continue to move forward and do things the right way. It's always exciting to get a victory and to win a football game. But as a coach, you want your kids to play the best brand of football that you possibly could play. I do owe some of that to Alabama A&M, though. Coach Spady does an exceptional job in making sure his kids are prepared. His staff does a great job, very, very organized, and you can tell that those kids are playing extremely hard. But to not take anything from them, we have to play better. And when you play against Alcorn State, that's one of the top teams in black college football. You've got to be ready to play.
Coach Fobbs, Luke Williams from the Black House page. Came into the season that won a lot of expectations. Start off 3-0. We found out about this team that maybe people didn't consider in terms of how low they picked.
You're cutting in and out on me. I need your question again.
Coach, I think what he was saying is, what do you know about this team that I guess most of us weren't aware of in terms of predictions, expectations?
Well, I mean, there really wasn't anything that I knew. I thought we had some talent. I thought we had a little more talent than the level that we were picked. I mean, it's not anything special. There's a certain bar that we want these guys to reach here at Grambling State University, and the bar is not changing. The bar is not coming down, and the level of play that we expect is the level of play that we expect. And we're just fortunate. We've had some breaks, and we've got some opportunities, and we've made a couple plays here and there that have kind of been fortunate for us. So we're just wanting to continue that and to continue to develop and play the best brand of football that we can.
And one other question is, what is the Broadrick Fobbs formula for success? As a Broadrick Fobbs team, you like to run the ball, you like to pass the ball, and how much have you been able to incorporate that this year?
Well, I think you have to be able to do both in order to be successful in this day and age in college football. I don't think a team that just throws the football can be very successful, nor do I think a team that just runs the football can be very successful. I think you have to be able to do both, but the formula for me is inside out. Here at Grambling, we built our program on the foundation of doing everything from the core and working its way out, starting from the individual, character-wise, development, making sure that we do the things the right way. We go to class, we go to study hall, we play extremely hard, we practice extremely hard, and then hopefully we reflect that on Saturday. So there's not any secret formula. We just believe in doing things the right way and creating that foundation that we need. And once you have that foundation, hopefully, eventually things will materialize.
You have been able to trade on the Grambling tradition.
Excuse me?
So how much have you been able to trade on the tradition of Grambling that Eddie Robinson set up?
Well, I think that's part of the foundation. I mean that everything that we do comes from Coach Robinson. I was coached by him. My father was coached by him. So the things that I was taught as a little kid came from Coach Robinson, and then they were just reiterated again when I got to college. So everything that comes out of my mouth are quotes that deal with Coach Robinson, and the way we go about doing things is the way that he went about doing them. And yes, it's a new age way of doing things and coaching the game and things of that nature, but there are some basic things that he stood for that I will not, get away from.
Coach Fobbs, how you doing? This is Mike Prince with the Open Mic Broadcast Network.
How you doing, Mr. Prince?
I'm doing real good. Look, you made mention that you're a second generation of the GSU family and tradition, which started with Coach Robertson. And I know we're only midpoint of the season, but as an alumnus and as a product of that system, How has this impacted you personally as the head coach now?
I tend to keep things, in its proper place. I really don't get too high or get too low because, you get too high, you get knocked off. You get too low, you never get a chance to get knocked off. I don't really look at it that way. I just try to stay focused on the next day. And right now, Alcorn State is right there in front of our face right now, and they are a greatly coached football team. I know Coach real well, and he's an exceptional football coach. And we've got to play our best brand of football in order to be successful.
And speaking of success, you had almost 300 yards passing from your quarterbacking core. Are you going to be looking at that as your anchor, or you still like to see a more balanced attack?
I think you have to be balanced. I don't think that you focus on one thing. I think you have to be able to do both because there are times in the ball game if you're fortunate to have a lead that you got to be able to football. But then also there are times in a football contest where you may be behind, where time is not on your side, where you got to be able to. So I firmly believe in running and throwing the football. Not to mention when you play against quality defensive coordinators, they tend to try to take away what you do well. So I think you have to do both in order to be successful. Because if someone takes something away, you have to have the ability to go somewhere else.
Now, Coach, you on a downside, you had 11 penalties for 118 yards.
Yeah.
What's the plan of attack and addressing that?
It's the same attack and address that we've done all year long. It kind of resurfaced again. Early on in the season when we were struggling 0-3, we had a lot of penalties, and we kind of got back to doing what is out of character for us. So it's just about going back and doing things over again and readdressing and talking to them again about it. But that's part of college football. Anytime, and I say it every week, anytime you deal with 18 to 22-year-old young men, sometimes you never know what you're going to get. So your job is to try to do the best you can to focus them and make sure that they handle things the right way and play the right way and stay away from doing things that they shouldn't do.
Coach, I got another one for you. What does the Grambling Alcorn matchup mean to you historically, and what it means this year, being that both your teams are on top of the respective divisions?
Well, it means a lot to me, and I'd be lying if I didn't say one of the things that crossed my mind was the 1994 game where we played against them here, and it was a sellout crowd and a very, very good ball game. But there's a lot of different players on that field that's not on that field now, and thank the Lord, Steve McNair, God rest his soul, is not playing in a Braves uniform, but it's just one of those deals. It's another conference game. It's a great quality football team, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I think it's a great deal when you have an opportunity to play against the best. And being that right now I think that they're the best, I think it brings out the best in you. And we're going to go play and see where we are.
Still talking with Broadrick Fobbs, head coach at Grambling State. Got about a minute left.
Well, if no one else, I ask another question. Coach, you played a Bethune-Cookman team that was considered probably one of the best in the MEAC, if not in all of black college football, played them kind of well. How would you compare this Alcorn team to them?
Well, it's kind of hard to compare. That was a different time. That was earlier in the season. We're a little bit different now than we were then. We played well, but we didn't play well enough to win. And at the end of the day, all what matters is W's and L's. I know that as a coach, we harp on penalties, we harp on execution, we harp on all those things that result in winning and losing. But at the end of the day, we didn't win the ball game. And when you don't win the ball game, there's really nothing to compare. It's about winning and losing.
Coach Ken Rashad, HBCU Sports. I've got to ask, you're on a 3-game winning streak, and one of the things that tends to stand out about those last 3 games is that you had 3 different starting quarterbacks. And injuries aside, talk about the overall play of your quarterbacks and talk about what this means going forward in terms of who potentially could be the number 1 guy the rest of the way.
Well, we don't discuss injuries, but I mean, we're going to continue to play with what we've been playing with. I think it's important to we're playing with some confidence now, even though, in my opinion, we didn't play necessarily very well. But we're playing with a little bit of confidence and catching a little bit better than we have earlier. But then also, I think it adds another dimension to your running game with Jonathan Williams in there. So we plan to continue to play with Jonathan, and we're good, we're healthy, and we're ready to roll.
Coach, thanks for joining us this week. We look forward to talking with you on next Monday.
Thank you so much.
That's Broadrick Fobbs, head coach at Grambling State University. Again, his team will host Alcorn State this Saturday at 2 p.m.
Your parents worked at Alcorn? Both of them are professors?
Next up on the call, we go to Alcorn State. His team defeated Alabama State last Thursday, and again, they traveled to Grambling for a 2 p.m. kickoff. We'll now talk things over and welcome Jay Hopson. Good morning, Coach Hopson. Are you with us?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Coach. If you could talk about your victory over Alabama State last Thursday and preview Grambling.
Well, it was a good win. I thought we did some positive things. I thought we were able to run the ball well. We made a few big plays in the passing game, which is always good to see us offensively do. Defensively, I thought we did a good job with our gap integrity. I thought we did a good job stopping the run and a good win. And this week we played Grambling, which is they're 3-0 in the conference. They lead the West Side. It's gonna. We know we got a very good football team. We got to get ready for, and it's going to be a big challenge.
Floor is now open for Jay Hopson, head coach at Alcorn State.
How you doing, Coach? This is Mike Prince again with the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Congratulations on your win. Could you just go in detail about the play of your quarterback, Gibbs, not only effective running, but as well as throwing the ball?
John, as a young man, I've kind of really believed that every week he's just really done a great job getting better and better. And he's a young man that's, like I said, played a lot of football for us and made a lot of plays for us. He is our leader on offense. And, the beautiful thing is he's getting older and more experienced, and, he's got a lot of snaps under his belt, so he's doing a great job with his reads. And, that's always a positive when you get an old quarterback that's played a lot of football. And John's doing a great job right now of leading our offense, and we need that to continue in order to be successful.
Now, Coach, were you surprised with the overall dominant performance that you guys displayed on last Thursday?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, we don't really think about that. We know we do have to execute even better because we definitely left a lot of things out there on that field. So I think that's the weekly goal every week to get better, and we got plenty of room for that. And we know we're playing a really good football team this week. If we don't, you're not going to be successful. And those are the things that we've got to continue to look at the things that we're not doing well and get better at it.
Still taking questions for Jay Hopson, head coach at Alcorn State.
Coach Stephen Gaither, HBCU Game Day. After you come off of a big win like this, of course you got Grambling coming in who's got a stellar record, but how do you keep the guys level-headed to the point where, they're still focused on the task at hand and still not basking in the glory of last week?
Well, they better understand there's a lot of season left, and I hope we have a mature enough football team to understand that, because if you don't, you're not going to be successful, and that's something that that certainly we tell our guys, and certainly they better understand, because Like I said, we're about to face an undefeated team in the SWAC this week, so you better get ready. And I think that's something that our guys understand. We got a really good football team we got to play, and it's going to be a big game.
Coach, you look at how the season goes. Just a week ago, people were discussing how last week's game with Alabama State was basically the game of the year, and now you've got an undefeated team this week, and so it turns into that one so far being the game of the year. Coach, just talk about this conference and competitiveness altogether.
It's and I've said that all along. It's a super competitive league, top to bottom. It's got outstanding players, outstanding coaches, and each week is a new challenge, and that's something that we've got some guys that have played a lot of football as far as experience-wise, but we've got to understand, and I think they do understand that, again, like you mentioned, we're facing a 3-0 football team in Grambling, and Texas Southern's got a good record in the conference. So, the bottom line is we've got to be ready to play football, and that's what it comes down to, and we've got to have a good week of preparation this week.
So we'll take a question for Alcorn State head coach Jay Hopson. Three turnovers Thursday, coach, despite winning 33-7. How big of an issue is that for you guys?
Well, it's something that, again, it's something we have to stop. In the week before, I think we had 4 or 5, so that's something that we have to. And those are some of the points that I'm talking about. So we have to. There's plenty of areas we got to look at and we got to get better at, and so that's certainly one of them. But you can't have that and be successful, and that's something that we understand. We've got to focus in and have better ball security.
Coach, it's been quite some time probably to check archives. Maybe it goes back to Terry Armstead at Arkansas Pine Bluff, but you had a lineman that was offensive player of the week and well-deserved. Talk about the play of Isaac Sampson Thursday.
Isaac is a young man that really, really played hard, and I'm proud of him. He's a young man that, battles and competes every day, and so, that's certainly a great honor, especially for an offensive lineman. Those guys don't get a lot of credit and a lot of glory, and Isaac's been a key factor to our success, and so we're certainly happy for him, and I think that's a big honor and very appreciative of it.
And is Sampson one of the guys that you had originally recruited? Was he already on the roster before you arriving, the Mobile native?
Isaac actually was here. He was in that signing class right before I got here. He was in that first signing class.
Got about 2 minutes left to take questions for Jay Hopson, Alcorn State head football coach. Coach, when you watch Grambling, what exactly do you see out of that team?
I see a very well-coached football team that plays hard, and I think they're making plays. The quarterbacks are making plays for them. Defensively they're aggressive, give you a lot of different looks, and so I mean it's they make a lot of plays. I think they play physical. I think a very well-coached football team. So a big challenge for us this weekend.
And do we have any more questions for Alcorn State head coach Jay Hopson? All right, Coach, thank you very much. We appreciate you joining us.
Thank you, guys.
Alcorn State head coach Jay Hopson and his team defeated Alabama State last Thursday, and they will travel to face Grambling State this coming Saturday. The kickoff is set for 2 p.m. Next up, we go to Mississippi Valley State and the Delta Devils. They fell to Texas Southern this past weekend, and they are at Jackson for a kickoff that starts at 2 p.m. this coming Saturday. Good morning, Coach Comegy. Are you with us?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach, for joining us. If you could talk about your game with Texas Southern and preview your trip back to Jackson.
Well, it was I thought it was a hard-fought game. Game I felt it could have went either way. We're taking baby steps toward where we want to be, but I think we're making some strides. It's our, I look at it as that game is really our first real, actual football game to where there's a good give and take and playing into the fourth quarter, and they have a pretty good team. They do a good job. Coach Asbury's, guy that gets his team ready, and so but I really felt that we came prepared to play and could have went either way, and so I just think that we're taking some baby steps, but we're eventually starting to get to where we want to be, and hopefully by the time it's all said and done, we can get one in or two or three and whatever we have left, and try to get a win and give these guys the pride that they need to step up and play solid football week in and week out. So it's not there yet, but we're definitely working on it weekly.
All right, the floor is now open. This is Rick Comegy, head coach at Mississippi Valley State.
Coach Comegy, Donald Ware from the press box to press row. Preparing for Jackson State right now and going back, what are your emotions right now in terms of going back, especially on homecoming back to Jackson State?
Well, it's not really, I'm sorry. I would love to feel different about it and make it something that seems to be very exciting, but I'm worried about, how our team performs. I can't wait till we finish up our film study and everything and go back and watch our last week's game film again so that we can make some improvements. I see the improvements starting to come in, and that's all I can think about is, geez, if we can just improve here and improve here and improve there, and maybe later on in the week, when we get going and really pushing toward the game, that excitement and flow to come back, because I want them to be excited. I want them to, feel that, they can, be excited. I don't want to take any of that away from them, but I want to make sure that we take care of the, one things that we need to take care of right now. There were certain things in that game that could have got us over the hump and made us a pretty good team, but that's on my mind right now. I'm sorry to say, the other piece is just not there yet. I just want to get better. And so I'm sure that piece will be there, that excitement to come back about going back and playing. But at this moment, there's a lot more things on my mind about getting better as a team.
You've coached, you're coaching Patrick Ivy. You had a chance to also coach Lamont as Ivy. What are some of the similarities between these two quarterbacks?
Well, it's hard to say. When they're hot, and when they're cold, I think that's a similarity between them. From what I experienced, if Pat gets hot, or if his brother gets hot, they're tough. They're tough football players. They look good, but when they have their days, they have their days, and so that's the biggest similarity.
What have you seen from Patrick so far this year? Does he start for you on Saturday?
Well, he's a good leader. He can throw. He can get the ball there. Sometimes he gets it there a little too hard, but he can get the ball there, and he can throw the deep ball as well. So I've seen that. I know he can do those things real well. And uncannily, last week he did some things with his feet. He got outside, did some things, made a big run for us, but then he came back and, of course, made an error toward as we worked the clock down in the fourth quarter. To try to take time off the clock to get a score in and leave them no time to score after that. I thought we worked the clock well, but then he comes up with an interception that takes that drive away, and we're down to plus 12 or so. But he's got to make better decisions than that, and so but yet and still he's a good leader, and the kids look up to him, and so we just have to make some good how we're going to play him, and but situational type plays because he has a package he can play in, and I want to make sure that we're finding that right package for him.
And lastly, is he starting for you on Saturday?
We're not sure just yet. I'm going to go ahead and evaluate practice. I think he had a good week, but we got two other quarterbacks that are pushing for that spot. We'll see how that goes. So, I'm not going to make that decision until later on in the week.
Thank you, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning, Coach. This is Mike Prince with the Open Mic Broadcast Network. How are you, sir?
Good. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing real good. Look, you made mention that your team is getting better. You're seeing some improvements. And with that being said, you've got to be pleased with the way your defense played on Saturday. And you did some mixing on the interior offensive line. And you got to be pleased in the direction in which that's headed in.
I was very, very pleased. I was very pleased with those, with some of the moves and changes. And we know we're starting to find the right formula in the way we want to play. And special teams didn't come back and hurt us last week. I think we, did some good creative things there in order to stop people from, returning back punts and, returning, kickoffs back and things of that nature, that, you work so hard and all of a sudden, wham, there's a kickoff return there for a touchdown that they didn't, not that they didn't work for it, but, easy, take it from them. And so we kind of cut down on those things, and I think it kept us in the ball game a little bit better. So we just got to keep working at being creative, what we have now that we know our personnel, and just be creative and make it, take some of the pressure off them and put the pressure on us as coaches to be creative.
Now, Coach, I know every game that's on the schedule, you look at it and try to find the best possible way of winning. And we know that, they say close games and more victories only count in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Right.
But what we're trying to get, you break down your season. Your non-conference games are pretty much equivalent to preseason, and you're at the midway point now. Are you liking what's unfolding? Are you discovering some new gems of what you have to work with? And how are you gearing this in your next game preparation against Jackson State?
Well, I think we have a good understanding of each other. I think we understand our limitations. And, I think, it takes a while to really learn everything about your entire team. But, I think we've got a good understanding of what our do's and don'ts are now and, what could get us in a ball game. And I always said this, if you can get into a game and play a game and then get down in the fourth quarter and still be in a game, it's going to go one way or the other, But if it's a game that where you're 52-7 or something going in, you don't get a chance to really play anymore. They're so far ahead, you got to, try to just work your way back. But if you can hang in there and, again, I'll go back to creativity and what your limitations are and understand. I think we have a good understanding of limitations now. It's been a process for me too. You come in, you say, well, I'm going to run this deal. We're going to do this. But sometimes you can't do those things. You have to do what they can do, a little bit more. And so we're going to go ahead and play that card. And hopefully, somewhere along the line it's going to be successful. We understand our limitations and what we can do, and we understand what we can do a little bit better. And so we're going to, look at that and, and try to help our personnel be successful. And they want to be successful, so it's our job as coaches to help them be successful. And I think we have to step in a little bit harder rather than being so stern-minded. Just what we do. Well, sometimes we can't do that. So we got to make sure that we can do what we can do.
And with that being said, the final question, Coach, what was your final words with your team on Saturday with a tough road loss, and what did you end up assessing and walking away with from that?
Well, I just told them that I was very proud of them, that this was our first football game that we played in, that we really didn't kill ourselves in special teams, and and in life, you're going to come so close. You think you arrive, but when they have children, things are going to, are they going to quit now, or are they going to, ride the roller coaster of life, and this is one of those days that you got to brush yourself off and get back into life and not worry. But as long as you know you did the best you can do, then you can move on from there. But those, and so we walked out there with our heads high and feeling pretty good about ourselves, and you're right, there's no moral victories, but there's times when they got to know that you did everything you can do, but you just didn't get it. So let's back up and go, and get out there for the next one. So I think we're feeling pretty good. I don't see anybody decide, well, I'm going to quit because we haven't won a game. We don't have that going on. We got guys who are still hungry to win, and that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted that bus to be full up when we got a bus on the ride back. And we did.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
Okay, I appreciate you.
Thanks very much, Coach, for your time. We appreciate it. We look forward to talking with you next week.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time. Thank you.
Yes, sir. That's Rick Comegy, head coach at Mississippi Valley State. The team travels to Jackson State for a 2 p.m. kickoff this Saturday. Next up, we go to Prairie View A&M and talk things over with Heishma Northern. His team again defeated Jackson State, and they will play host to Alabama State this Saturday at 2 p.m. Good morning, Coach Northern. Are you with us?
How there? Hey there, Miss Parker. How you feeling? Well, good.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm here.
I know that wasn't you, Coach. I'm sorry. Coach Northern, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing fine this morning. I hope everything is going well.
It is. Thank you very much for joining us. If you could talk about your victory over Jackson and preview the Hornets of Alabama State.
Well, didn't get off to the best of starts, but our guys played well throughout the game. But like I say, we have to find a way to get off to a better start. We made a few small adjustments here and there. And really I have to go back to the whole week. We changed our practice schedule, changed up some of the off days and really banged a good little bit going into the game, and I think that gave our guys a little bit different perspective. It didn't break up some of the flow of practice, the way that we had been doing things. Guys bought into, hey, we're going to try something different. You guys have to try something different in terms of maybe some of the sacrifices that you have to make off the field in order to make the good things happen for us on the field. And the guys just went out there and played. We didn't run a whole lot of new plays. We just, hey, man, we're one block away on a lot of certain plays on offense. We were a better throwaway or a caught ball away from being more successful on the offensive side of the ball than on the defensive side of the ball. We talked about the defensive line making our linebackers better or making our secondary better, and they did that. And we talked about the linebackers making the defensive line better. And, just if everyone makes everybody else better, then we'll be better off as a team. And that's just what we did. It wasn't a whole lot of changes. It was just guys executed better. I think we may have had one drop pass, maybe two drop passes the whole game, where before we might have had 5 or 6. We didn't miss a lot of blocks in our screen game. So the guys just kept on fighting and fighting for one another, and we came out of there with a victory. This week we have another good ball club coming to our place. The Alabama State Hornets, who have they have an outstanding ball club, do a lot of things similarly to us on the offense side of the ball, maybe a little bit more attacking style on the defensive side of the ball. So we're going to have our hands full, but like we just talked to our guys about winning one game in a row, doing your job. If it doesn't seem like things are working, then do your job better than you think you're doing, and we'll be okay. And just try to play for each other and make other people around you better, and the team will be better off.
All right, the floor is now open for Prairie View A&M head coach Heishma Northern.
Coach Northern, how you doing? This is Mike Prince with the Open Mic, sir.
I'm doing fine this morning.
All right, congratulations. And you talked about the team getting better. And the one thing that's standing out to me right now is that when you're 9 of 12 on third down efficiency, that's a big turnaround because the offense was there and how important it was to start executing and getting those third downs and converting them into first downs.
Well, that was huge for us. We didn't realize it until the end of the game. The punter came up to me and said, Coach, you don't like me or whatever, and I didn't realize that our punter hadn't punted the ball once in the game. I think we went for it on fourth down once, and didn't get. I think we went for on four times and maybe converted the other 3. We made, I think, 2 or 3 field goals, so that was huge for us. You can coach differently when your field goal kicker is making field goals, but we knew we had that potential on offense regardless of which quarterback played, which running backs played. Everybody got in my opinion, executed average to above average. We didn't have a drop-off in any level of play on the offensive side of the ball last week.
Now, Coach, you talked about your quarterback play. You did went with the two-headed monster again last week with Lovelock and Green, and both were accountable for some touchdowns. Are you going to continue to go on with that, or are you just giving a different look to kind of change the monotony of things? Because you're talking about doing things.
Yes, sir. I mean, it depends, and we have no problem playing 2 quarterbacks. We've done that ever since I've been here. But to be honest with you, Jerry showed up maybe 1 minute late for a meeting or a team dinner or something like that, and we have rules set in stone, but we're not going to change our rules for a particular player. We're not going to change our rules based off what our record is. So that's what we got over to our guys. Hey man, if Jerry Lovelock has to sit out with 5 or 6 NFL scouts at the game, a representative from the Senior Bowl, we really could have said, hey, we don't want to mess this up for Jerry, but we had to do that for the whole team. Now, we have trust in Trey, and, Trey may go in the game and call the wrong pass protection, line the running back up wrong, but he's a playmaker. We can't deny that. So, we have to get him to get a little bit more gym rat in him, but we have no problem playing 2, even 3 quarterbacks if that's what it takes for us to win the ball game. And I do not know, as of right now, I do not know which one is going to start for us.
That's fine with me, Coach. Now, you had a big blow in your offensive attack with Courtney Brown going down, and you had to go more or less by running back by committee, but you got to be pleased with how Hebert has responded, along with he and Ham.
Yeah, I mean, we knew we always had a good stable of running backs. Even if Courtney had not have been injured, we still would have played 2 or 3 running backs, probably more 2 than we're playing 3 right now. But, we have a good rotation. We have no problem playing Arthur Locker. We have no problem playing Javonte Ham or Jonte Hebert. All of them do a good job catching the ball out of the backfield. They do a good job in pass protection, and all of them have been making good plays for us. Sometimes they try to make every run a 50-yard run, but we try to get them being more consistent with the 5-yard runs. But we always knew we had a good stable of running backs. It's more imperative what those guys in front of them are doing and allowing us to be able to run the football than who's behind them running the ball. That's what we talk about. The offensive line can make the running backs better, but the running backs can help the offensive line by pressing their landmarks, doing the small things to help the offensive line become better blockers.
Now, Coach, you got another great task coming up this week, taking on Alabama State. And although Cyrus was held down pretty much last week by Alcorn, what are the preparations that you get in the defensive side ready for as they try to take on this offensive unit from Alabama State?
Like I said, it sounds like coach speak, but the biggest thing you want to do going into every ball game is first and foremost stop the run. If they do want to run the football, you have to try to make them one-dimensional, but it's going to be a huge task for us. He's an outstanding running back. I thought, and it may sound crazy, I thought he was the better running back on the team that they had last year, and that is Heishma Northern opinion. So, that is what it is, but he is an outstanding football player. But some of the things that they do schematically make him a good football player as well. So we have to be prepared for a lot of things. We have to do a good job tackling in space. We have to be relentless in our pursuit to the football. But every game we go on with the same plan of attack. Stop the run, be able to run the football, be fundamentally sound in the kicking game, and you have a good chance to win.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Still taking questions for Heishma Northern, head coach at Prairie View A&M. And do we have any more questions? All right, Coach, thank you very much for your time. We'll look forward to talking with you next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. That's Heishma Northern, head coach at Prairie View A&M. His team defeated Jackson State this past weekend, and they will host Alabama State. The kickoff is set for 2 p.m. Next up on the call, we go to Southern University. His team defeated Arkansas Pine Bluff, and they will travel to Huntsville to play against Alabama A&M at 1 p.m. Next on the call is Southern University head football coach Dawson Odums. Good morning, Coach Odums. Are you with us?
Yes, sir. Good morning. Thanks.
Thanks for joining us, Coach. If you could talk about your victory over Arkansas Pine Bluff and preview Alabama A&M.
Well, we got off to a fast start. You know, our special teams really got us going, had good kickoff return that set up, touchdowns, and, our offense played well. We started getting some guys back. We had 3 running backs to carry the football well for us. Tillery continues to do a great job. Quarterback made good decisions, and we were able to put points on the board. And defensively, we were able to get off the field on third down, and that really was the big difference in the ball game. And trying to corral Mr. Anderson, he did a great job. We did a great job of keeping him in the pocket, and we forced several sacks on him. So I think when you put all that together, you play good defense, good offense, and good special teams, you like your chances in winning the football game.
All right, the floor is now open for Dawson Odums, head coach at Southern University. Coach, your freshman quarterback continues to mature, and Austin Howard. Talk about his play this past weekend.
Well, I thought he played well. He had one turnover there that led to a fumble where they scooped and scored a touchdown. And, what I thought his decision-making was better. He threw the ball, the best he's thrown it this year. Just making really good decisions, managing the game, just trying to move the offense down the field. We were able to get first downs. He made great decisions on third down. And he's continuing to get better. And, as we get a couple more receivers back healthy, we were able to stretch the field there with Reggie Travis. But, Mike Jones is a guy that we've been missing, is another guy that can stretch the field. So we're starting to get healthy, and I was pleased with the way he plays at quarterback.
And we're taking questions for Southern University head coach Dawson Odums. Please remember to use the command *6 to unmute your phone. Coach, is it somewhat of a relief to get guys like Reggie Travis going? Everybody is, of course, familiar with Willie Quinn.
Well, yes, I think that everybody's paying a lot of attention to Quinn, but we're deep at the wide receiver position. We have about 5 or 6 guys that can stretch the field vertical. Have about 5 or 6 guys that can take it the distance. And just to see Reggie come into his own, I'm pleased with that. I think it's about that time. Usually when you transfer and you get on the team, it usually takes you about 3 or 4 ball games to get settled into what you're doing. And I'm glad to see his talent starting to show. And again, once we get Mike Jones back, we'll start having a healthy core at wide receiver. O-line's doing an outstanding job of blocking, man. But it's just great to see the quarterback have time, and it's great to see the wide receivers make plays.
Still talking things over for Heishma, head coach at Southern University. Let's talk about this team that you're facing in Alabama A&M. Right now, they're 1-2 in the league. The record probably doesn't indicate how decent of a football team they actually are.
Well, I think they're a good football team. I think they're doing well. They got some guys that can make some plays. You look at it, they're in every ball game. We're going to be on the road, going to a hostile environment. We got to play very good. We have yet to put back-to-back wins together. That's our goal. This is about the time of the year where teams are going to start separating themselves, and, we hope to be one of those teams. We know we got to play well. They're a good football team. They're well prepared. They're well coached. They play great fundamental football, and it's going to be a tough challenge for us. And they get in that pistol offense and try to create some problems for you, and they got a defense that fly around. Think number 90, he's one of, 7 tackles for loss. I mean, I don't know how we go blocking, but we definitely have to pay some attention to him. I mean, he's causing trouble for everybody.
Still taking questions for Southern University head coach Dawson Odums. And do we have any more questions for Coach Odums? Coach, we won't hold you. We appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us, and we'll look forward to talking with you next week.
Okay, thank you for having me. Take care.
Thanks a lot. That's Dawson Odums, head football coach at Southern University. His team defeated Arkansas Pine Bluff, and they will travel to Huntsville to face Alabama A&M for a kickoff that starts at 1 p.m. We have about 5 minutes before we get things going with Darrell Asbury for Texas Southern. And before we do that, we will revisit once more the players of the week and try to get this right. The offensive player of the week goes to Isaac Sampson of Alcorn State. Your defensive player of the week is a sophomore linebacker from Alabama State University and Courtney Berry. Your specialist of the week goes to Danny Johnson of Southern University. Your newcomer of the week is Reggie Travis of Southern and Darian Ragsdale for Alcorn State. We have co-players of the week for newcomer of the week. Okay, so now we will migrate to Houston, Texas now, and start things over with Darrell Asbury. His team defeated Mississippi Valley State this past week. They also have a bye week here in week 7. Good morning, Coach Asbury. Are you with us?
Yes, good morning.
Thanks for joining us, Coach. If you could talk about your victory over Mississippi Valley, now has you 5-1 overall and 3-1 in the conference, and talk about your plans for the bye week.
Well, it was a tough game on Saturday. Our team came out. I thought the guys came out again. We were a little flat early on. Eventually, we picked up the momentum. Defensively, we continued to play well and solid in our kicking game. Offensively, we had to end up using Jay Kristoff. Jamal Smalls was a little banged up, and we decided to continue to go with Mr. Kristoff, and he stepped in and did a great job, and we stuck to our run game. Kids were very resilient. It came down to about 5 minutes to go where we had to get a touchdown, and they came through, and defensively, they played Tiger defense. Very proud of those guys, and again, going into the bye week, we'll practice 3 days, and we'll give the guys 3 days off, and then come back on Sunday and get ready for Alcorn.
Questions now for Darrell Asbury, head coach at Texas Southern. Coach, what do you think is the biggest difference now between now and a year ago in terms of finishing games? There were some games that you guys were in as well at the very end last year. You talked about needing to score there at the very end to solidify the deal. What is the difference between the way you guys are finishing games now and what you were doing a season ago?
Well, I think it's our attitude, number one, and like I told the guys in the locker room after the game, I thought I was very impressed with the way we played team football. That was the first time since I've been here that we won as a team, and I thought it was very important that the guys finally rallied together and they had the determination to win the football game. I thought that game was better than the Prairie game because now we're late in the season and the guys really tuned in and showed me that we have grown as a football team.
We're still talking things over for Darrell with Darrell Asbury, head coach at Texas Southern. But you got to be pleased with the way you guys played defensively, particularly on third down with 2 of 15 third down conversions against Mississippi Valley State.
Yeah, it's always a positive when your defense can get off the field on third downs. That's been our strength with this football team. We try to put all our best athletes on that side of the football and let them fly around. And Coach Vite and his staff is doing a great job over there with those young men. And, yes, we are very pleased with that.
And a guy, a receiver, Julius Stafford, has had some success a lot with previous opponents. You guys held him to 32 yards receiving last Saturday.
Well, we put in a defense. Coach Vite and his staff came up with a defense, and we were not going to let him get over the top of us. So we kept a guy over the top, and we took our best defensive player at the corner position, Trey Walker, and we told him wherever he goes, then you go. So when we wanted to go man, we made sure Trey was on him, and we felt good about Trey being there on him because last year Trey did a great job the second half on him. So that was the game plan coming in, and we just refused to let him beat us offensively. We're going to make someone else beat us if that was the case.
Could your off week come at a better time? You get off week, and then it's at Alcorn State, who's playing very good football.
Yes, they are. They're playing great football. Coach is doing a great job over there with this program, and you are correct. We really need this off week right now to get some of our guys back, which we felt just getting out of a meeting with our trainers that this week here we'll get a lot of guys back on Sunday when we return back into full practice. So it is the right time for the off week.
Do we have any more questions for Darrell Asbury, head coach at Texas Southern? Coach, thank you very much for your time. We look forward to talking with you next week.
Thank you.
That's Darrell Asbury, head coach at Texas Southern University. Again, his team defeated Mississippi Valley State this past weekend, and Week 7 is a bye week for